All right, we're ready whenever you are.
Yeah,
Yeah?
I mean,
okay.
Go for it. I'm ready.
Let's get started. All right, everybody, welcome to this amazing episode of Around the Loop. Today I have a very, very special guest. I actually traveled all the way up here to LA, Mission Top Secret Destination Unknown. I'm not going to drop location, but it's an honor and privilege today to actually be with the proud owner of Terp Koozie. And if you guys don't know what Terp Koozie is, you're going to know on this episode, and it's going to be all over the place. It's about to change the game for everybody. So I have the honor and privilege of having...
My name is Greg Farron, and I'm the owner of Terp Koozie.
Thank you so much for being on the show. I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for making the drive, bro. I appreciate it.
It was amazing. I loved it. The bridge, man, that was.
Yeah, it's a cool drive up here.
Mm-hmm.
The coast.
It definitely
We're right
was.
on the coast,
Loved it. So let's get started. Let's tell the world a little bit about yourself first. So.
Sure.
Yeah, let's break it down.
So I mean, I've been in cannabis since 2003, 2004.
Mm-hmm.
Started as a grower vendor, procurement. Was back in the medical marijuana days here in California. Did that heavy, I was 18 years old, running up from San Diego. So I went to UC San Diego.
Oh, wow.
Would run up to LA, sell all of my products because all the dispensaries actually had closed down in San Diego when I went to college there. So From like 2005 to 2008 or so, the dispensaries closed down in San Diego. So we really didn't have anything. And I was growing some top shelf weed. Mm-hmm. Got taught by some people who really knew what they were doing, and it allowed me to have a shorter learning curve, to the whole growing process, and I was able to sell some kill up to a dispensary called TLMD. Shout out TLMD. They're pre-ICO. They're still up there in Valley Village.
There we go.
Would vend to them, and that was like. Would do little things here and there with procurement, buy from farms, sell to brands. But back then it was really you could fill out just paperwork and vend to a dispensary. It was very much the wild, wild west. And 2009 happened and I went to veterinary school. So life happened. So I thought I was going to be a veterinarian, but as I was going through vet school, I went to Purdue. Veterinary medicine is really tied into agriculture because you have farmland, you have farm animals, and I really gravitated towards the agricultural side of it. And having done the whole hydroponic thing for years, before going to vet school, and GMO was all over the newspapers. 2009, 2010, it was like genetically modified everything, bad for you, gonna kill you, or whatever. It's like demonized. And I felt like growing your own foods was a way around that. And so in 2012, I created a product called the Culture Closet.
Oh, wow.
And that was a customizable grow box, but it came fully assembled. So all you needed to do was put your plants in. I called it a plug and grow system. It was foolproof. And, it allowed my consumers or my customers to take control over what they were growing. Now, I thought they'd be growing foods. Everyone was growing cannabis. This is the low-hanging fruit. And it was a scene that I was really familiar with anyways. So a few more years pass with the Culture Closet. 2018 happens here and Prop 64 passes. Some of the, I guess the larger players in the game or the people who, a lot changed in 2018. Yeah. You had the more boutique grows get out of it because the metric system got implemented, and metric is kind of it's a way for the whole cannabis process here in California to be tracked from plant to sales, and for all the sales to be really, really tracked in the end for tax purposes, for regulation. It's a regulatory, I guess, it's regulations. And there were some individuals who had the money and had the infrastructure, but didn't know how to put their grow together. And someone took a chance on me. I put together a blueprint, some CAD designs. He had me build out his facility. It was a success. And from there, he told his friend about it. I set his facility up. And then for the next 5 or 6 years was setting up Southern California with the hydroponic system. So it's cool.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you got to travel quite a lot.
Travel a lot. It was all, I made a really big impact from San Diego to Santa Barbara, out to the Inland Empire, like San Bernardino, Adelanto area, would set up a lot of their indoor hydroponic systems. That's what I really excelled in. I was featured in High Times for it. Head Quest, I was in the Quest for the Best section. Yeah, I was in the High Times 40th anniversary for cultivation. Several other magazines. This is all in like the mid 2010, 2015.
That's still amazing though.
But it's a testament to just hard work and really like trying to give back to the community that has given me so much, that I feel like has raised me more or less. You know, it's a way that I could just like give back. The culture closet was a tool to teach people how to grow. Setting up the facilities, I feel like that was a way for me to at least have a hand in the smoke that we all smoke from the dispensaries,
Yes,
right?
sir.
It was just a way for me to have some influence to maybe make it a little bit better. And so then we have the Terp Koozie. The last 4 or 5 years, we've seen a really big like hash rush here in California, especially, and, you know, all over the United States.
Yes, sir.
Really big here in California. And there's a huge loss of integrity of the product from manufacturer to when you bring it home, whether that's distribution channels and it's sitting in distribution channels that might not be refrigerated. Maybe they're not properly kept when they're brought to the dispensary, in between them putting it in a freezer. Maybe they don't even keep it in a freezer. Maybe it's in a freezer, but it's been sitting for months, and you bring it home and it's warm and you have a 15, 20-minute drive. And all of that plays a role in, you know, the quality of the hash that you're smoking. And so, you know, I just created the Terp Koozie to hopefully keep that quality that the producers originally intended for us to have and us to smoke.
So let's talk a little bit about the Terp Koozie.
Sure.
Let's start from the name. Let's start with the name. How did you come up with the name? That's what I'm curious.
Sure. Easy. So growing up, we have, you know, beer koozies. They keep our beers cold.
True.
I was a college student, drank my fair share amount of beers. And when I was making the Terp Koozies, which started the design maybe a year and a half ago, they weren't originally insulated with neoprene. And so all the Terp Koozies are insulated. But they weren't insulated when I first started making them, and they would sweat on the outside. And I couldn't figure out how to make them not sweat. I even like lowered the ice packs, made it so that it wasn't in contact with the exterior. And the only way that I could kind of solve that problem was through the use of that neoprene. And so it was just kind of like it was kind of a no-brainer to use the koozie, and, you know, we store our terps in there. So to me, it seemed very straightforward. It's a Terp Koozie. Keeps your terps cold.
You know, I love it. I love the design. So how did you even come up with the design? Because the design is unique too. I like it.
Sure.
It really speaks a lot.
Absolutely. So being in the rec market, or the rec market that we have here in California, I really wanted to manufacture the Terp Koozie. And here, I'll show your camera here real quick. Wanted to manufacture the Terp Koozie to hold 6 jars that we have available here at, you know, that are recreationally available. Jars that even hold 2 grams that we'll sell medically here in California. And I figure 6 is enough. I also wanted to make them small enough to fit in your freezer, because you do have to freeze this in order for it to work. You freeze it for about 4 hours, and you have 4 to 6 hours of freezability and all-day cooling. So it really will stay cold all day.
And is there a tip for, I guess, better freezing? Do you recommend just leaving it open?
Sure, yeah. So if you put it in the freezer open, it's gonna cool faster. If you have it closed, it might take up to 6 hours to freeze fully.
I see.
It's insulated, so it actually will insulate your freezer's cooling power, your coolability, to freezing the ice packs that are in the Terp Koozie. But having it open, they're not insulated on that cooling plate, so it freezes a lot faster.
I see. And so I want to talk about color combinations. So how did you come up with the colors that you have actually?
Right. So right now we have 5 color combinations, and they're all named after strains of cannabis that we have.
Okay.
So we have Pineapple Express.
Ooh, there we go.
We have Black Domina. The light blue one is Blue Dream Haze.
Ooh.
This is a limited edition crushed opal. That's Moon Rocks. It has a multicolor sparkle to it. The dark blue is Blueberry Yum Yum.
Ooh.
And the silver is Super Silver Haze.
I love that.
So it was just, honestly, growing up, growing weed, they were household names growing up, right? They're more old school strains, Silver Haze, right? Your Pineapple Express, Blue Dream. But to me, they're the heirloom of, you know, kind of what started this cannabis movement.
I see. Oh wow. Okay. So how long did it take you to actually not perfect, but because I mean, you keep perfecting every day. So how did you come up with like the right formula for this?
Sure. So I make the Terp Koozies in batches.
Okay.
And I do that intentionally because you're right. Like I'm always kind of tweaking things here and there, little nuances, things you might not notice, but things that I think will make a little bit of a difference. And so, you know, they're always changing. I'll make like 30 to 50 of them at a time. And honestly, they're super efficient little machines, but they're not perfect, you know. So I feel like there's, you know, I don't feel like there is a perfect, right? We just chase perfection on our way to excellence.
Yes,
and
sir.
So, you know, that's what I'm trying to do here with this. This is just an introduction into cold storage as far as I'm concerned. And you know, I feel like there's going to be much more innovation, you know, for my company, and hopefully we'll see other players come in that are also, you know, changing the game in terms of how we store our hash, you know.
Yes, sir. And you guys saw it here on Around the Loop podcast. This is the first of the first right here where you guys seen it. And it's going to like revolutionize the game. It's going to revolutionize the industry. And for all my hash lover, all my dab lovers out there, I mean, who doesn't like having something fresh? I know I do. You don't want your shit being ruined or anything. I mean, I've been out to the desert. It dried out. It oxidized. And I wish I had something, you know, stored cool. So this is, you know, this is a prime example of almost like wishing on a prayer, and dreams do come true. So this is really nice to see this, and just to see it in person, it's very unique. So I wanted to ask is, let's talk a little bit about the glass pieces.
Sure.
Because that just, for the camera, everybody looking at it, they're all just like checking everything out. So let's talk a little bit about these glass pieces you got going on, and how they correspond with the Terp Koozie, how they relate.
Yeah, so I grew up in the like glass scene.
Yes, sir.
Someone who I'm very close, a family member, ran a like a glass production company. At the time, it was acrylic bongs. It was graphics back in like the early '90s. Then owned Heavy, then owned AMG Glass, and so I grew up kind of within the glass scene, or familiar with it. And the way that I see it is, it's me giving back to the community that brought me up. With the culture closet, with the money that I was making with that, I would buy glass pieces here and there, and you know, along the way would make you know, relationships with glass artists, you know, who I still have relationships with today.
That's amazing.
And what's cool is, you know, it's all synergistic, right? The more people that are able to buy high quality hash or enjoy their high quality hash, they're going to want to smoke it out of like high quality glass, right? So it goes hand in hand. It's, you know, it's not, they're not exclusive. And, you know, I'm really hoping that it brings some more life into this glass industry, brings some more life into like at least how we interact with hash. You know, right 100%. Now it's the first steps of, you know, this is a new product as far as hash and rosin, as far and it being more and more refined, you know, almost on the daily here in California. And I feel like unless you hit it fresh off the press, you're not going to get that experience. So our little saying that we have here is from, you know, we want the same experience from press to sesh, you know, and so for everything to be consistent across the board.
Okay. And so, you know, I want to ask, for the folks that are seeing this, these are all for Puffco attachments, correct?
For the most part.
For the most part, except for that piece right there in the middle. And that other one, the dual Puffco one, that one's crazy. So I want to talk a little bit about that piece. So run us down a little bit about it.
Sure. The artist is Noah Ross. He was also the artist. If you follow my page at all, we had a giveaway. And we had a giveaway of a little shredder and a little banger, a custom banger that he made. OTW Glass is his Instagram.
Make sure you guys tap in.
Yeah, Noah Ross is the artist. He makes these donut recyclers. So this has a donut here, has a donut in the back, and it has a donut on the side. So 3 donuts. It's called a TDR, triple donut recycler.
Oh, wow.
This one holds 2 Puffcos in the front, and it also has room for a 14 mil banger.
Oh, so my gosh.
So if 2 Puffcos wasn't enough and you want to bring out the torch and give a little extra punch, that one's really cool. This one is a really special piece too. So this is the original Ryan Fit recycler for the pivot. Roger, I believe, has one of these, and Ryan's working on producing these for you guys. But this one was the prototype. He made it for my birthday. It's a really special piece. It turns the pivot into an incredible device. Like, it takes it to the next level. I can't really explain how or why, but the amount of vapor that you get on the lowest heat temp on the pivot off of this device is just insane.
It is crazy.
So,
that I can agree with you on that.
Then as far as the other pieces, we got, this is Sandals glass, Jamie Hunter, great artist. He also made this piece that I had Ryan plate. Jamie also made this piece and this piece. And then we have Evil Empire rig from Jay Gordon.
Ooh.
It's insane. Nice. This is one of his V3 biohazards. Insane. Insane piece. Quality as far as scientific glass goes. This is from Turtle Time Glass. This is a full crushed opal Orca Puffco top.
Oh, wow.
And then this is from Habitat Glass.
That's crazy.
And this is a Puffco fish. Puffco top.
That's amazing.
Puffer fish, Puffco top, sorry. And then another from Turtle Time Glass. This is an actual turtle with a little hidden UV shell.
I was about to ask that too for the folks that are curious, because it does look like it glows. They all do glow.
They all glow.
I'm gonna put we'll put it in the clip here where it glows too, because that's pretty nice. It's beautiful.
They all glow. They're all UV. That's something that I collect with my pieces. If they're not like aquatic themed, they all have UV. And then I wanted to add to, just as far as like the Terp Koozies go. The future of the Terp Koozies doesn't just end with the 5 colors that I have and the crushed opal design. We're constantly innovating, and one of the next things that we're going to be releasing here,
let's talk about that.
Maybe at the end of the month, maybe mid-month next month, is going to be the Terp Koozie XL.
Ooh,
and
there we go.
These things are really cool. So these are going to be fully waterproof. You could throw them in a cooler, bring them to the beach. They're thicker than the original Terp Koozie. They hold more. They hold 10 jars instead of 6 jars. They have about 3 times the cooling ability of the Terp Koozie. And then you have twice the latches. They're going to be 9 colors. I'm going to also be offering some variants of the Terp Koozie as far as interior colors. But working out those details here in the next couple weeks, and going to be sharing that on our Instagram page as far as
that's exciting.
Maybe having 4 or 5 different color patterns that we have, where instead of it being, a black, a blue with a black interior, you have maybe a light blue with a blue interior, or a crushed opal with a teal interior.
That's amazing.
So, we're still working on the details as far as which color combinations look great. I really like the blue on blue. They all look great. I would love to at some point offer full customization, but I feel like that will be something that at first I want to just see if people want the interior a different color. So,
it's gonna be.
I already know people want
it's gonna be guaranteed. So I wanted to ask too, like, so since you've been doing this, I mean, at what point? So you've been doing this for about over a year and some change already.
So I've been designing them for about a year and a half, but honestly, like, I've only been selling them since the end of February. Have sold about 600 of them since February. No advertising.
There, you guys hear that?
Yeah. Shout out to Z Vapor, Lucky Cat. Shout out to Super Innovations, AZ Glass Geeks. Shout out to Stone Age Pharmacy for being some of the first retail shops to carry the Terp Koozie, and reach out to them, buy a Terp Koozie, support them.
Make sure you guys check them out, show that love and support. And if you guys are ever curious too where you can purchase one, you can purchase. I'll put the link here as well, and you can always hit me up as well too, and we'll make it happen. Now this is amazing. They're about to change the game, and people don't understand. Like, they're about to learn. So, how has this journey changed your life when you started doing the Terp Koozie, from doing your custom boxes to the Terp Koozies?
Sure.
How was that?
The culture closets and even like the grow facilities, that was something that I feel like I can only do a few at a time, and they were bigger projects.
Yes.
I've never had something like Terp Koozies are $35. It's never really been more affordable to save yourself money on that expensive hash rosin you're buying. I know I buy high quality stuff. I'm sure you guys do too. And to spend $35 to keep it fresh, is like a no-brainer. But to have something so affordable has been incredible, because every event we go to, I sell out of every single unit that we bring.
That's amazing.
It's one of those types of products that people didn't know that they need until they see it. They're like, oh shit, I could totally use that. And you know what? I could go to work and now my terps could be fresh. You know, I don't have to have warm terps in the car. Yeah, it's pretty rad.
That's amazing. And so I want to talk a little bit more about you, so the world gets to know a little bit more about yourself.
Sure.
So, how was your childhood? Let's talk a little bit about your early days. How was their upbringing here?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Redondo Beach here in Los Angeles. I feel like I had a great upbringing. My dad was a professional race car driver, which is pretty interesting. He was really close friends with Carroll Shelby, Vic Edelbrock, which Edelbrock makes performance engine parts. Cammy Christie are also close friends. My dad was the chairman of HMSA, which was like a historic motorsports association, like a racing association. My mom she is still a healthcare consultant for Medicare. And both my parents like owned their own businesses, and I was kind of here in the middle as an only child, looking at them, being like, how can I impress them? We always want to impress our parents. I did. I wanted.
No, me too.
Yeah,
I agree.
You know how it goes, right?
Yes, sir.
So if it wasn't grades, which I did really well in school, it was what could I do to like really get their attention. And I thought that cultivation and cannabis stuff would. It was the opposite. I feel like my parents were like, what are you doing? You could get in trouble. But I never got in trouble with it. But I understood where they were coming from.
No, yeah.
Now that I'm doing this, like, you know, unfortunately, rest in peace, my dad passed away 5 years ago. But my mom is telling me that she's proud of me, and I feel like that's awesome. I'm 40 years old, and you know, it's still meaningful to hear that.
You don't even.
No, it's still meaningful to hear that. So, it's my upbringing was really good though. I went to Redondo High School. I graduated top of my class. I went to UC San Diego. I double majored. I went to Purdue for veterinary school. But then I'm like a veterinary school dropout.
How did you like Purdue? Because when you went from San Diego all the way out to the East Coast,
Indiana,
so
right.
You went from
not East Coast, more like the Midwest.
Midwest, there we go.
But blizzards, tornadoes, and get me back to the waves, the ocean. You know, when you're in veterinary school, you're studying a lot. You don't really have a social life. I didn't have much of a social life, and I was a transplant. I was from the beach cities. I was not a good old boy farmer. I don't know.
Countryside,
I wasn't a country boy. So I was very different. I was wearing my board shorts, and they're like, "What are you doing?" So it was just I would study. I did 3 years of that, and you know I was on the dean's list and on these honors in leadership society kind of programs.
That's amazing.
And it just wasn't for me. You know, it was. I'd be working at veterinary hospitals, and the thing with veterinary medicine is it's not a perfect science, and you're not trained perfectly from school. So a lot of your education actually comes like with hands-on work with other people's pets, right? With other people, you know, with your clients.
Yes.
And I didn't really like that side of it ethically. Like I have dogs and cats, and they're family members to me, and I trust my veterinarian, and the thought of like they might just be not experimenting on my dog but like practicing, it was just a weird thought to me.
And I would definitely feel the same way, because it's like, oh well, I trust you to take care of my and if you're not 100% sure you know what you're doing, that's kind of
right. And to be all knowledgeable about it, right? And it's not, dude, Purdue's an amazing school. Shout out Purdue, Boilermaker, boiler up. But when you study veterinary medicine, you study every discipline of medicine. What I mean by that is like radiology, dermatology, anatomy of every animal, right? And so there's all these different classifications of animals, and so it's impossible to like learn everything about all of them. Whereas if you study human medicine, you're only studying about the human anatomy, the human body, right? You have male and female, somewhat different, but for the most part, it's all the same thing. A horse and even a cow are two different animals, right? A cow has multiple stomachs, right? They're called ruminants, right? Their bodies digest and just operate differently. And so, man, you learn a whole bunch of information, but is it really applicable to every veterinary job out there, especially if you're going to do small animal stuff out here in California?
Yeah, that's
we
what
don't
I
have
was
horse
kind of curious.
property. It wasn't for me. And then there's, I come to find after the fact that there's like a high, depression rate, suicide rate to veterinarians, and I just don't want to get in that mix at all,
No,
So
that's smart that you saw that and you pulled out, and it was for your own mental health. It was honestly for your mental health and for your overall health in general, and that's important. That's very important because some people stick to it and they'll drive themselves down to the ground.
Right. I think I've been fortunate to working at the veterinary hospital might be the only thing that I've had that I'd consider a 9 to 5, even though I was like volunteering and more like internships. But I've always been in cannabis. I've always worked for myself. I've always had my own business, whether it was with the cultivation side of things or now with the cold storage and dispensary, recreational cannabis side of stuff out here in California. But it's I like that you get out what you put into it when you own your own business.
Sure.
And it's up to you to really be your own boss and to dictate what you're doing with yourself. The thing with veterinary medicine that one of the other shortcomings that I saw was that, as much care as we'd put into these animals, a lot of the animals that we'd see, they might come in with maggots on wounds, right? And it's from neglect or whatever. And I mean, it happens. Not everyone's a perfect animal owner, but I mean, to see that, it's kind of traumatic. But to also know that you're cleaning this animal up and then returning them back to the same person that did that is, it's hard, right?
So, yeah, I can see the scale on that. I can see that.
Yeah. So it's been a blessing to be able to work for myself because I haven't been forced to be in situations that maybe make me feel uncomfortable or also I also feel like when I was doing the veterinary medicine thing that I was kind of being withheld from achieving my potential. I don't know, so to say.
You had that feeling you had that feeling in your soul. You knew that you were meant for more than just that, and that's amazing. That really is. So let's talk about when you came back home. How was that?
Came back home in 2010, 11. And reached out to my dad. I was like, hey, Dad, I want to get into agriculture. People need to grow their own foods. He helped me design the prototype of the culture closet. It's a little different than what I sold, but because he's not a grow guy. He's more of a technical guy.
That makes sense.
But, it was like, hey, let's do this together as a father-son thing. And from there, I'm 23 years old. I'm not living with them, and it was just like, it was an excuse to go there and work with my dad in his big garage where he was working on cars. I could work on some culture closets. But, for the most part, after bringing pretty much the shop here, it was all done here. And I was fortunate to be 15 minutes from my parents when my dad was alive. But after he passed, my mom moved to Wyoming, and I'm fortunate to be able to visit Jackson Hole, which is beautiful.
Let's talk a little bit about that area because I've never been out there. So how's Wyoming?
Wyoming is awesome. So my mom lives like 10 minutes from Yellowstone, and I mean there's elk and moose and fox and otter and coyote and bear and every animal, like bald eagles. It's like God's country, so to say. And it's just it's not for me, but it's a very beautiful place. I need the ocean and sunshine, and I need the breeze and stuff. I don't do so well in cold, and my skin, it's my body.
No,
it's my body, it's not even just my brain. My body's like, what are you doing? Get out, go home. But it's it's nice to get a change of scenery by going out and visiting her and stuff. So I know she appreciates it.
Oh, that's amazing. And wow, I didn't even know you were a single child. So
only child.
I'm just inspired. I'm inspired because you single child and just seeing all this is. I give you big props, honestly. I really do. It's amazing I admire all this because this is just seeing everything and seeing that this is all you. You did this all yourself is.
So you could go in two directions as an only child, especially as an only child with some sort of privilege underneath. You could be a spoiled brat and expect everything to come your way. Or what I did is I feel like I used that to my advantage. So instead of taking advantage of the situation, which I'd consider that first part, I used it to my advantage and was able to create more than I was able to do maybe if I didn't have that advantage. I don't know. I just used it as a tool more than I, took advantage of it and was a trust fund child or something like that, right? I saw it as, my mom's in healthcare, my dad does this engineering thing. Well, I'll make these grow boxes, which is really a marriage of the two, with trying to get people to eat their own food, grow their own foods, take control of their health.
True.
Which is what really got me into it.
That's pretty nice.
And then it was, all right, let's like keep one foot in front of the other and see where this takes us. And that's really what the Terp Koozie, we're doing a lot of events now. This is the first podcast, the first like real media outlet or outreach from us. But I feel like it's the first of many. Someone yesterday called the Terp Koozie the viral Terp Koozie, and it's flattering.
It's gonna go viral. That's we're gonna make it happen.
I only want it to go viral so that you guys could have fresh terps. Anything else is all a bonus. I appreciate the support and stuff, but really, like, this is a product for you guys, and that's what, like, the Culture Closet was a product for you guys, and that's what it's all about. That's the other direction you can go as an only child, right? It's not about me. Like, I always treated my friends as family. I treat this scene and the community as like my family as well. And it's intimate. It's something that like really, like, I have this house because of cannabis. And so it's something that is really meaningful and has, intrinsic value to me. It's a powerful thing. I don't know. I love weed. I love cultivating. I love hash. Love you guys.
That's amazing. And so I want to ask, like, what are some honorable people you got to meet along the way in your cannabis journey throughout these years? Like, let's talk about it a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the first people I met with the Culture Closet was pro wrestler Rob Van Dam. He helped with the Terp Koozies. Also, him and his wife Katie helped with the Terp Koozies, and they're awesome. They're amazing. They're out in Las Vegas, but they used to be neighbors. And I actually taught Rob how to cultivate with the Culture Closet, and that's how we became friends. And then doing trade shows, Burner, when he first started doing his cookies.
Yes, in the beginning.
Before cookies, he would go to trade shows, and I remember showing him the Culture Closet, giving him some like swag. And then he started his, flower company. He probably had his stuff going on anyways, but wasn't doing it this was like the Cannabis Cup. Yeah. This was 2012, maybe 2013. Wow. And then Ivan from Jungle Boys, we kind of did our thing at the same time. I don't know, when you're in the cannabis for 20 years, there's not a lot of people who have stayed in cannabis and who have thrived in cannabis.
Okay, that's something I was going to ask too.
And I feel very fortunate to be one of the few, I guess. But it's, integrity's big. People could smell dishonesty, and I don't know, they see right through it. And I feel like me being someone who I feel like I see integrity as being this absolute thing. Like virginity.
100%. Yeah, no, 100%.
You're either a virgin or you're not. It's black and white.
Yep.
You either have integrity or don't. You're not gonna be a virgin again, right? Like,
nope, 100%. I get you.
So it's black and white, and so I live my life that way, and that's a life of promise, and follow through.
Yes, sir. I see that.
And that gets results. If you, not to get hippie on you guys,
but
if you align your thoughts and your actions, and anything's possible.
That's true. No, and I preach that a lot on the podcast here. I preach that to everybody, that if you put your mind, heart, and soul into it, anything is literally possible. Right. I started from the ground up. You started from the ground up, and look where we're at. We're making things happen, and it's a phenomenal experience just to be able to be in the same room with you, and just seeing this in person, and seeing what the future can bring, and knowing that it's gonna bring nothing but greatness. This is just very, very exciting. It's very exciting to even be part of it, to even be, from the very, beginning, seeing the beginning stages. This is amazing. And it's an honor, it's a privilege. And, I want to ask a little bit more about, your personal side. So let's talk about a little bit about music. What kind of music do you like to listen to?
Sure. Listen to hip hop. I'm an old school hip hop head, grew up with in the age of like independent hip hop. And I feel like there's still independent hip hop out there, but it was back in, like, independent hip hop was huge. Like breakdancing was huge, turntablism, like the mid 2000s, when you had like Rhyme Sayers with like Atmosphere and Living Legends and like just other groups that we had out here. And San Diego has actually a really huge independent hip hop scene too. They had Access Music was down there, which was like a big shop that I go to in Pacific Beach. That's like what primarily still listen to like 90s and 2000s hip hop. Like I'm still like stuck there.
No, I love that.
My girl is younger. She listens to more trendy stuff, so I'll branch out, but it's still like old school hip hop and stuff. Yeah,
I love that. Head. And then what about like movies? What kind of? I mean, if you have time, because I know you are a busy man, so if you do have time to see movies and shows, what are some movies and shows you like to watch?
Dude, horror movies, 100%.
Okay, what are some that you like?
Man, we've seen them all. We're gonna see. It's the one that's coming out. That's it's
I know what you did last summer too.
No. It's with I'm sorry, this is horrible for your podcast right now.
No, you're good.
But it came out yesterday. It's about there's like these kids that leave their house.
Yes, in the middle of the night.
Yeah. So what was that movie called? We're gonna see it on Sunday.
It's based off a true story. That's what they say.
Yeah, or whatever. Right? They leave and it's something. It's like, what is it called? We're gonna see that.
I'll put it on here though.
Whatever.
Definitely.
Good movie. It came out today, I think.
Ooh.
Anyways, that we saw Jurassic World, which wasn't the best. Wait for it to come on. Wait to stream it on Netflix.
There we go.
But we've seen them all. All the movie. I'm a big movie buff. It's nice that you could spend $20 at home, be able to get high and watch a movie that's in the theater.
Peace and comfort.
Exactly.
Honestly, I dream of one day there being a movie theater where you can smoke and just that's a dream. That's a dream that can come true one day. I can see that happening.
What's your all-time favorite movie?
Ooh, for me, man. Well, I definitely love watching Friday, Rush Hour, like Back to the Future. It's more like the older movies, Goonies. I definitely liked watching Happy Gilmore. So any Adam Sandler movie is I love watching those. I watch stand-up comedy, so like I'll watch Bert Kreischer, Ralph Barboza, Tom Segura. And mainly it's other podcasts too, so it's most of the time it's either I'm watching something or I'm watching what my lady's watching. So she'll watch like Korean soap operas.
Okay.
She just recently got into that, which was it's pretty interesting. But I mean, hey, those shows are pretty cool.
They are. The whole Korean like movie show genre, that in general has blown up. I think over the last like 3 years or so. 4 years.
It definitely has, and it's amazing. And then what about foods? Like, what kind of foods?
We like? Dude, my girl's Mexican, so we get down on great Mexican food here in LA.
There we go.
That's like all we have here.
So put us on some. Okay.
No, birria is fire. Her mom just makes the most incredible food, so it's just whatever her mom's making. That's what I love.
That's a blessing.
That's the correct answer.
I love that.
That's what I'm sticking to.
Hey, that's smart. I'm gonna have to start using that. That's smart. I'm gonna start using that. But that's a blessing right there.
But we have a lot of good food here, man. We have a lot of you go down in Orange County. There's some good Asian, just every Asian food you could think of, from hot pot places to Korean barbecue places.
Oh, wow.
Some really good spots. Shibuya is really fire in Orange County.
I'll have to check that out.
And you got you have more Mexican food places than you could count here in California, especially in Los Angeles. And I don't know, food's cool. What kind of food do you like?
For me, it's definitely Hispanic food, but I like Asian foods too. A lot more of that. I like to try different things. I like to experiment and try different cultures. And I just went out to New Orleans about almost 3 years ago. So I was in love with the food out there. That's one of one right there.
Do you eat fish?
Yeah.
I don't eat fish.
No, you don't?
I didn't mention this. No. So when I was 12, I got certified as a scuba diver in Moorea. So my certification's in French Polynesian Islands, so it's in French.
But
sick. I'm a rescue diver and a dive master. And so they became the homies.
That makes sense.
I used to love sushi, used to love fish, and then fell in love with scuba diving, especially over COVID. It was one of the only sports you could do, because you're in the water, you don't have to social distance or anything like that.
That's true.
And it just kind of turned me off of it. I was like, I want to save this.
So let's talk a little bit about this. What inspired you to get into scuba diving? That's what I'm curious.
Grew up surfing. My first I was 14 years old, working at a surf camp. We're not really just playing around. And then here in so I was 12, got certified. We would travel a lot as a family. We go to Hawaii a lot. We decided to take a trip to Tahiti. Who doesn't want to go to Tahiti? Breathtaking, amazing place. In fact, I saw a video on Tahiti a year ago. It looks exactly the same as it did 30 years ago. So go to Tahiti. It's amazing.
That's beautiful.
So we're there. You could pretty much go scuba diving without too much training, and then
Okay.
you get certified. So it wasn't like I got all this training and had all this education when I was 12.
I see.
So got certified then, surfed and was on the surf team at Redondo High School for the like 3 years or 4 years that I was there. I was there for 4 years, but for 3 years on the surf team, and surfed even after that. But once COVID hit, got back into scuba diving and kind of took it all the way through. So the way scuba diving works is it's like a tiered system where like you get your basic certification, then advanced, then you could get your rescue, and then you could kind of take some electives, and you have to build up hours to being maybe a dive master, and then from there you're in the professional world of scuba diving, where you could be a dive instructor, or more, the world's your oyster and scuba diving type thing. So I took it to, I was taking dive instructor classes. It wasn't for me at the time. I had these ideas running through my head. This was 2 years ago. I had these ideas running through my head, and I was going to sell my hydroponic business too. And that happened around 2 years ago too. And so all this stuff was happening. Decided not to do that. Just stuck with the, being a dive master, and went, dug my heels into the cold storage.
Wow.
But it's a good hobby to have.
No, that's amazing, because I have a couple friends that are into diving and whatnot. So it's really neat to meet other people that are interested too. And I like to ask, like, what got you inspired, and it's nice. It's nice. I want to take a quick
over everything, and
I'm definitely gonna do that.
Yeah, but scuba diving's cool. To get back into that for a sec, if you haven't done it, I recommend trying it. It's not for everyone.
Okay.
But it's very therapeutic.
Let's talk about that. Okay.
So here in California, we have sensory deprivation chambers. I don't know if they have those everywhere, but it's like a dark chamber that you could go into where you're floating in water, and you're pretty much there with your thoughts. Scuba diving's similar. You're there with your thoughts, but you have really beautiful scenery in front.
I was gonna say, because you're more freely, besides being in a
container. It's just like all the bullshit goes away. Like, to speak freely, like you're all the drama that's going on in the outside world, all the like negativity, all the like
it stays
nonsense.
Above the surface.
Yeah,
that's what makes. Okay, I see what you mean.
Down there, you're there with just. You have to be present when you're scuba diving. You really do. Things can go wrong. And so being present is really important, and being situationally aware is really important too. But it's, it's there to enjoy. Our oceans, I think, are things that we take for granted. I think that we don't realize the importance that they play in our lives. I'm was part of a group called the Reef Check Foundation. We would do transects of the kelp forest here in like Palos Verdes and stuff. And that's pretty much doing what a transect is like you're writing down how much kelp you're seeing, or maybe how many invasive species like an urchin you're seeing, and how many fish maybe, and you're giving that information to the scientific community, so that then they can make changes to maybe products or the way that we're going about our day. It's just giving really observational data to the community to use, because not everyone scuba dives, not everyone's going to take or is trained in taking that type of content down when you're scuba diving. And it's really like, it was a boring class, but it's important.
No, it is. I didn't even know that.
You're literally sitting in one spot for like 30 minutes, just like drawing or writing what you're seeing in front of you and under you, and waiting for stuff to move. Little snails won't move until you sit there for about 5 minutes, and then critters start crawling out. Oh, shit, and so like, it's really, you stay in one spot for a little bit, and kind of just write down on a board something that you could write underwater, just kind of what you're seeing, and you give that to the scientific community.
Oh, that's really cool.
Maybe we could help with either global warming, or maybe there's chemicals in our foods or in certain products that are killing the oceans in a certain way, or maybe there's a way that we could get rid of these invasive species, which is really, I think, the point.
I see. Okay, that's pretty neat. And for folks that are interested in joining something like that, where can they actually?
Yeah, so reefcheck.org. You have to be a certified diver.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure if you live by a lake or coastal, you could take scuba diving lessons. If you ever go anywhere tropical. They offer scuba lessons too that are probably easier. It's a lot here in California, toughest conditions. Go somewhere where it's warm and clear, and you'll have a really great time. But it's something I think that's important to experience, to see what's on this planet, and how we're all on this thing together.
True.
We all interact with this same planet, the same life source, living planet thing being, and so it's important to know how to interact with it and how to really take care of it, and to do our part. And so
And what are some like the most interesting sea life that you've actually got to encounter yourself personally?
Sure.
That I'm
So
curious.
I've scuba dove with like orca, a pot of orca, which is unusual, more common now. When I did it, it wasn't super common. Now I feel like other people are diving with orca, because they're kind of popping up everywhere. But that was just here in Sea Cortez, which is right kind of in between the little tail of Mexico and mainland Mexico, going up towards California.
Oh, that's cool.
And then have dove with hammerhead sharks and
wow.
tiger sharks, going out to Socorro Island, which is about a 30-minute boat ride from the tip of Cabo, out towards like Galapagos and stuff.
Oh, that's so cool.
They have it's a cleaning station for a lot of bigger animals, so you could see 10 different species of shark, 20-foot manta ray, you see sea lions and dolphins and whales and just really everything. The ocean's beautiful. You guys are missing out if you aren't in it.
Oh, that's amazing. Shit, that's inspired me to want to go try this out too. This is pretty cool. And then I want to ask too, like, since you said that things can happen in a flash, have you had any freak accidents happen during your time as a dive master?
I've lost friends. I haven't had anything. So don't take edibles and dive. Bad idea.
I'm learning.
Bad idea. Don't smoke and dive. They tell you don't to drink and dive. Probably don't do anything and dive like that. Because
there's a reason.
What happens is when you're under the water, you're under pressure. Everything that's in your body interacts differently than you're used to, and it might hit you different. It might freak you out, and the freak out underwater isn't the best thing to do. So that's something that I personally experienced and won't ever do again. But I've lost. A lot of people, I think, take the safety aspect of scuba diving for granted, or they're like, I just want to follow this fish and not really focus on how deep I'm going or how long I've been under. Or when you scuba dive and you go beyond a certain depth, you have to do what's called a safety stop at 15 feet. And it's essentially to like degas your body, get all the nitrogen out of your body so you don't get the bends, you don't get decompression sickness. And some people won't take the full 3 minutes. Now, it might not take the full 3 minutes, it might take 2 minutes, but we'll do it for 3 minutes to err on precaution, right? You rather do more than less. But some people will just shoot up to the top, and you might be fine, but you might not. So there was one time there was a night dive, which it's hard to see anyways. Someone shot up to the top when we were all doing our safety stop. We all come up 3 minutes later. He was okay. And then we're swimming towards the surface, and he faints, and we don't see what happens, and he faints face first in the water, and you lose a fellow scuba diver. And that's a common, I think a lot of people, once they get past like their beginner certification and they're advanced, they're like, oh, I know what I'm doing. And then they'll go to like a place like Roatan, a beautiful place, and it's easy to dive. You could follow whatever fish, and it's really simple. And then you'll come back out here to California, and you'll do like a night dive where you don't have the good visibility. It's really cold. It's surgy. And it's hard to really keep tabs on everyone.
It is.
And so like it's something that you just really you have to anticipate before you're in a bad situation. And a lot of that is just like getting out there, making sure you have a solid dive buddy. It's really important. It's a buddy sport. It's not a single person sport. You have to go down there with a buddy, make sure it's someone you trust, and make sure you're not just like fucking around down there. Like you can't breathe underwater.
That makes sense. I mean, oh shit. Okay.
Even if your equipment fails, it will fail in free flow. So your equipment isn't going to be the reason why anything bad's going to happen to you. It's going to be the decisions you make. And especially having gone through like the rescue diving course where we go through like the worst case scenario of everything. A lot can go wrong, and you get hit with the question of, okay, you and your wife are down there, and she goes straight up. Like, what do you do? Like, I know you shouldn't also go straight to the top, but I probably would, and I would bring her back down. You know,
okay, I see.
So it's not a perfect science. It's not a perfect, hobby where you're gonna know what to do in every single situation. But I think always erring on caution is, something that you have to always keep in mind for scuba diving. And, just, stick with your group. Don't go beyond your skill level. Monitor your air. You'll be okay. It's really not a complicated sport, but it's not one that you want to just be like, oh, I know what I'm doing. It's like skydiving. You don't just want to be like, jump out of a plane thinking you know how to do it, even though you've done it maybe 20 or 30 times. There might be something you didn't cover that's gonna not open your parachute on the way down.
That's true.
So it's a similar type of thing. You're in an environment that we're not supposed to be in. And so it's just really important to, at least like as far as the fundamentals, make sure that you're always keeping those in the back of your mind while you're exploring and enjoying like the scenery and the environment.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. And then I mean, because this all ties in together. So I want to ask, what are like some places you got to travel? Some places I guess most folks might not even be able to go or be able to see. What are some places you've got to experience?
Yeah, so like Roatan mentioned Socorro, a lot of times in Cabo. Honestly, if you guys are in the United States, you don't have to go too far. If you guys are on the East Coast, Florida has great diving out by the Keys. All the little island chains that are off of Florida are amazing. And then if you're on the West Coast, all you need to go down to is just like the West Coast of Mexico or like Cabo. The Sea of Cortez was probably the most incredible diving that I've ever seen. And when I talk millions of fish, like a swarm of bees of fish, and you're seeing 15 different types all in that quantity, it makes you wonder, like, why aren't there that many in these other parts, where there's reef systems and they should be thriving.
And I want to ask, I mean, have you ever seen anything? This is for some people that are just curious, but have you ever seen anything down in the depths of the waters that just you couldn't really explain what it was?
No.
Okay. Just
no.
Okay. Just curious, because some people seen things.
No, not really. No. Just been in shipwrecks and have seen like little like growing. I think they call it like black coral, and it grows in like dark. I don't know how light was getting to it, or that was kind of unusual, but
that's so black. I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, black coral. Check that out. Some crazy stuff.
Shipwreck dives. That's pretty cool.
But the ocean has, dude, there's way more species of animals in the ocean than there are here on land. And then the majority of them are 60 feet and shallower. Probably the vast majority are probably 30 feet and shallower in like the reef systems. All you need to do is, like, even if you don't want to scuba dive, snorkeling, you could experience what's down there. But it is, it's like, I don't know if you've ever traveled outside the United States when you get to experience a different culture and you're like, oh, like that's how they do it. That's kind of how scuba diving is. It's like, oh, it's like experiencing something that you wouldn't otherwise experience, in a different way.
Yeah.
And I think that just expands who you are as a person, and it makes you, more connected to your life here on Earth.
Oh, that's amazing. Honestly, it really is. And I'm inspired to even start trying to, look into scuba diving, because I have had some friends that did scuba diving and everything, and getting to talk to you more about it, it's inspiring, and I can see like the spiritual connection with it, with the ocean. It's different. It's probably hard to explain. But I want to ask too, like being in the cannabis field too, where are some unique places you got to travel?
For cannabis, I mean, so I've seen a huge change in cannabis since 2004. It was the wild, wild west of the medical marijuana scene, mostly on the West Coast, in like Denver. So I'd say that's still the West Coast. You didn't really have too much going on the East Coast. And then you had places like Maine or Massachusetts, Michigan,
Okay.
popping up with some big stuff. Maybe not Maine. Maybe I was thinking Michigan. You have Florida having, 710 Labs. I know has some a spot down in Florida.
Ooh, that's amazing.
You have pockets of cannabis that back in the day it was like California was the best and everyone else was like trying to do their best, is what we used to say. And now I feel like really the availability of information as far as how to cultivate, how to make concentrates, how to make hash or whatever, it's out there to where you could do it in not just here and not just by word of mouth, but you could really do it at your own house or in your own facility and make a killing. Now I know every state has its own regulations.
Yes.
If you're regulated here in California, if you have a brand here in California, it doesn't mean that you could go sell in a different state. Every state is different. Every brand, also all the brands, say the brands in Denver are going to be different than the brands in California, unless they have a dual kind of, let's say, certification or license to sell in both states. But for the most part, with the recreationalization of cannabis, unless you're 710 Labs and maybe like a small handful of other companies, you're, those licensing deals license costs a lot of money.
That makes sense.
And so a lot of companies stay in their state.
And what are some brands you got to work with personally that you personally enjoy? Just for people that are trying to learn something new.
Sure.
Because I like to put people on, and I like to be put on too. So, what are some of your favorites that you like to enjoy?
All right, are you guys ready? Okay.
Stay tuned.
Ati, Hash and Flowers, Have Hash, Trilogy, Calia, Community, Rosin Raiders, Master Makers, Pistol Whip, Punch Extracts, Heritage Hash Co., Hashish Co., iPoppy, Shasta, Tuna Melts, Josh Wax. Let me keep going. 710 Labs.
Let's do it.
There's Bear Labs, West Coast Cure, Stizzy. Not Stizzy. They do make rosin. It's decent. No hate.
Shade
To Stizzy, but there's so much rosin out here. Frosties. I mean, there's man, and I want to say it used to be a tiered system mostly with 710 Labs. Tier 4 wasn't the best. 3, 2, 1, Percy getting better. But now I feel like some companies have kind of gone away from the tiered system, like Pistol Whip, and they just have they just want to put out bomb rosin for an affordable price. So they're we just want to have a $40, $35 to $40 a gram price point pre-tax, and put out that gas. Same with Master Makers. Master Makers will have they're one of my favorite companies. Nick is a great rep for them and is a good guy. Well, shout out to Nick.
Shout out to him.
They have their full spec line, which is cheaper, where they do full plant. They have their signature series, and then they have their private reserve series.
I heard about that.
And it just gets better and better. And honestly, even their full spec is fire. You have companies like Punch, where it's still 1 through 4, 4 being the worst, 1 being the best. But they do it where it's 4 is outdoor grown, 3 is greenhouse, 2 is indoor, 1 is premium indoor. It's something like that.
Yes,
right? Where it's not even just this is the best stuff. Whereas even other companies will have a tier 4, they might make it a tier 4 based on how much rosin they were able to produce. Not even a quality standpoint. It's we're able to make a ton of this, let's make it affordable, right? And so sometimes this tiered system could be misleading. Some people don't do the tiered system. Have Hash, I think, is one of the best rosin companies here in California. Trilogy is probably one of the more notable here in California with 710 Labs as far as top tier.
Yes.
Calia, I met Mark recently
Shout out to him. I definitely want to meet him one day.
Met him recently at the at 710 at the Hash Tour. And he's a really cool guy, really, really, really special guy, doing really cool things in this space. And he has Calia, Community, and Rosin Raiders, all at different price points.
Oh, that's amazing.
But they're all great quality.
Yeah.
They're just, one might be 2 grams for 60, one might be 2 grams or a gram for 40 and 2 for 80, or whatever. But they're all, like, the nose on them are great. The consistency on them are great. They burn really well. They taste really good. And when you're smoking out a good glass or, high-end glass, or even if you're just smoking to enjoy it, yeah, we all want to get high at the end of the day, but it doesn't hurt to have that flavor with it.
No, that exquisite fine taste. It's like some can say it's almost like related to like wines.
It is,
you're having your fine wine. You don't want to just drink
to get drunk.
Thank you. Yeah, or just want to drink out of a plastic cup. You don't want to smoke out of a plastic cup. You want a fine glass. Like, I understand.
Right, and even at that, like, you'd have your stemmed glass, your no stem glass, right? You have your don't touch the wine glass because it heats it up. Or then you might, I'm not too into wine, but maybe crystal is nicer to, drink. I was going to say smoke out of, drink out of than normal glass. I don't know, so I'm sure it is, right? So, I'm sure it's a nuance. It's like only wine enthusiasts can really taste the difference. And it's really the same thing with hash. Like, I have someone who I recently turned on to hash maybe as of, probably when the Terp Koozie started, like 4 or 5 months ago.
Oh, that's amazing.
And now I've seen him grow his wings. Like, he's now, like, telling me about what he enjoys and mentioning different profiles in it when he was just learning about it. And there's so much, like, as far as consistency of it, nose, flavor, the temperature, low temp versus high temp. What am I smoking? Is it full melt? Is it fresh press? Is it cold cure? Like, there's all these types of solventless extracts. Is it solvent extract where you have a resin or a diamond or a crushed diamond or something, right?
Yes, okay.
Where those are solvent based, where, not necessarily bad for your health, but when they use a solvent, it strips the terpenes off of the plant. And so a lot of the times they have to add terpenes to their product. So that's what, to me, is the biggest difference between solventless and solvent-based, is with the solventless, you get the natural expression of the plant. Okay. It tastes like the plant, if not like the plant on steroids, like the best part of the plant, especially if it's done right. And not every processor will process the same. So that's where, dude, there's so much to learn. It's like, okay, so cool. I love Skittles, but Skittles from Master Makers might be different than Skittles from Pistol Whip, might be a bit different than Skittles from Punch. Yes. They might all look kind of the same too. They might all smell kind of the same, but they're gonna taste different, have a different effect.
And I've noticed that too. There was I've tried Moroccan peaches with a couple different, and Canal Runs too, with a couple different companies, and there is a slight difference. There is a slight difference, like you said that. That's true.
And you'll get stuff like peaches has been really big, GMO has been really big, and it's just not all created equally. And I think that in the near future, and I think we're seeing it now, but I think in the near future, what we're going to see is this processor with this farm. I mean, you're, like I said, you're seeing it, but I think it's going to be much more prominent. I want to get that product because it was that farm and it was that processor, and I know it's going to be fire. Because you could have it from that farm and from a different processor, and it's not going to be the same. Even though it's the same plant, maybe they had a different technique. I don't know. I wish I knew more about the manufacturing process of rosin and hash, but from a consumer standpoint and we'll say a connoisseur-ish standpoint, that when it comes to flavor, when it comes to potency, and when it comes to just the overall experience, that it is different across brands, and it is different. I have noticed a difference with the manufacturer too, even on the same brand, if that makes sense. Because you could have, let's say, Have Hash is the processor, but then you have a farm like Mendoza, which is a high quality farm, make their rosin, but then you might have Aloha Cannabis or whatever make for Have Hash. It's going to be different. I think that we're going to start to see more literature, I'll say, is put on the packaging as far as who's involved with this.
Okay, I see that. Oh wow, okay. No, I really appreciate you breaking it down like that. It's a lot to soak in. It's a lot to soak in.
It gets even crazier, man.
And I'm excited. I'm excited with the podcast to really start diving deep into it and to show the world that cannabis is does help. There's healing properties to it, and it helped me. For me, when I was in the service, I got addicted to pills, and when I got out, I was hesitant on cannabis. I had a friend that kept talking about it, and he's like, do your research first if you're not comfortable. So I started doing my research. I started seeing that there's benefits to the mental health, to get you off pills. There's even weight loss benefits to it. For folks that you got to do your research, there's benefits to it. And I started doing that, and that's when I started my journey. And from there, I was in the East Coast, so from there, it was a little harder to get cannabis out there. A gram was probably the most I've ever seen in my life until I got to California, and I had a friend of mine that opened up his drawer, showed me an ounce. I forever changed my fucking life. So seeing that and just seeing the growth in cannabis and how it's been changing the lives of just many, I'm excited to dive into that down the road and explore and see how it changed people's lives. So I want to ask, how has it changed your life in the medical way?
Yeah, no, for sure. I wish I had never taken any kind of like pharmaceutical medication, but we maybe either experiment or we've been injured or we have mental health issues here at some point along our life. And some of those medications are addictive and are hard to quit. And not getting into any details for my life personally, but cannabis has helped me shift from, let's say, Western medication or pharmaceutical medication to primarily just smoking hash all day. And, I feel like the scene has also expanded the cannabinoid research side, or at least the cannabinoid availability or discovery. I don't know how to put it, but we're seeing now new compounds or different compounds listed for edibles: CBG, THCV, CBN for sleep, CBG for like cramps for women and stuff, and THCV for like energy. Then you have like THCA, Delta 9 THC. There's just all these like compounds that we're now starting to like differentiate and find out what they're helpful for. I think that once cannabis becomes not a Schedule 1 drug where we could like deem it medically useful, because it's still Schedule 1, unfortunately, federally. Once it's not federally Schedule 1, I think that it's going to replace a lot of the pharmaceutical industry. I think that those compounds, just imagine if we're able to like actually synthesize something from a legit lab, not a lab that you or I or someone we know is making, right? So, not to say that they're not legit, but, I think that having like a Pfizer do something with, where they're, just coming out with your CBD or your CBG, and this is what you take instead of Vicodin or something. I think that's, we have pandemics here. I think that moving in that direction is huge.
I agree with you 100% on that. And I'm looking forward to seeing the growth and the change for many people out here, because we all truly need it.
Yeah, man.
And so I appreciate about talk about the cannabis field and your journey through it. And I still, before I forget, I don't want to forget this, and I can't forget this. Let's talk about your early days as an artist too.
Okay, sure.
Because I want to throw that in there too. That's important because that's who you were too. So let's talk about the artist side of you. So when did that start?
So we all smoke and get artistic. We all get bored. And that's where maybe I started smoking in high school and would just doodle. Like I said, I was a straight A student. I was fortunate in a sense that I didn't really listen so much. I just more showed up and did well.
Yeah.
So I would draw, and I would make little doodles for like maybe the girls I was attracted to, or just like for my friends. We'd have little like crews, little graffiti crews. We thought we were cool. And then moved to San Diego for college and got into like actually writing graffiti. At UC San Diego, we have a legal stairway where you could write graffiti. So it's like full of graffiti. I think it's like 5 floors just full of graffiti. You can legally write there. And got into that. And so the one behind me this is the first one I did on a canvas. And I used like, I think 7 canvases, to make it, and wanted it to be symmetrical. My nickname back in the day was Wonka.
How'd you get that nickname? I'm curious.
Candyman. We'll just leave it at that. Leave it at that.
There we go.
And I was like a cultivator, and it was like I had the glass, I had all the toys. It was like going to Willy Wonka's playhouse. And so and so would write Wonka, wrote that. I have several other art throughout the house, but it helped when I did the culture closet because all of the graphic design is different than, you know, regular just like drawing, but you still need to have an artistic hand to do graphic design. And a lot of the CAD design, a lot of the even designing of the culture closet initially and renderings of how I wanted it to look, and even putting that into action and seeing what it looks like in real life, you know, it takes an artistic edge. And so I really think that, you know, I'm fortunate to have been artistic when I was a kid or have explored that side of myself because, you know, I even use it now. Like I'm trying to come up with new, you know, color variations for the Terp Koozies, and that takes some artistic insight. You can't just throw together random colors and hope everyone loves it. You know, and I feel like there's, you know, I feel like art is a beautiful thing. You know, I love this glass as art. I see a lot of graffiti in the glass.
Yes,
Maybe
that's what I was gonna say. It's beautiful. It's harder to see when you guys see it on video. The video doesn't do justice. When you see it in person, it's breathtaking. It really is. And then seeing the UV light on shine, that's a icing to the cake right there.
Yeah, we'll take a shot of that. Yeah, but it's, you know, I saw, and I think that's probably what got me gravitating towards glass in the first place, was that I saw graffiti in it, and I saw like something that was intimate to me that I really enjoyed, but was in a medium that I've had no clue how they do what they do with it. And, you know, I've collected since 2002. I have over 100 bongs and pipes, have 40 Puffco tops, 40 or so Puffco tops, maybe more.
Big shout out to Puffco.
Yeah, and Puffco's huge. Ryan Fit is my best friend, great guy. But they're doing big things. You know, I feel like they introduced and kind of reinvigorated a scene that was kind of falling out a little bit, in my opinion. They brought new people to this scene in a different way. Maybe like the vape scene, you know, got kind of carried into this.
True.
You know, I know that Puffco is being innovative. They continue to be innovative. I know they have products on the horizon that are going to continue to innovate how we interact with hash specifically. And I'm excited for what they're doing. But yeah, being tied in with Ryan, Kevin at Puffco, shout out to you. You're a big guy too. But they're all good people there, and they're doing cool stuff. They're even like sponsoring like fights, like MMA fights.
I've actually been seeing that. I've been seeing that, and I was truly impressed by that. I was like, oh, that's pretty dope. And you know, hey, shout out to Puffco. If you guys ever see me, would love to work with you guys on Around the Loop podcast. I mean, I'm a proud supporter too of Puffco, and shout out to actually John from Bearded Haze for putting me on the Rippler too. That was game changer. It really is, and it's been a phenomenal journey. It really has been.
Yeah, speaking on John, John has a Terp Koozie, so I mean, if it's good enough for him, it's good enough for the world.
It is.
That's right. And then with Puffco, yeah, since day one, been a hard rider with them, and this is a complimentary product to what you guys are doing, and so, you know, I'm riding hard with you guys. I'll be at PuffCon with you guys, so stoked for that.
There we go. And for the folks that are going to be coming out to PuffCon, is there something, any exciting news for them?
Yeah, we'll hopefully have the XL for PuffCon. Hopefully have like I have 1 or 2 collaborations in mind that I'm hoping to release just for PuffCon, like as a special, maybe for like the week before, week after PuffCon, like a limited 50 unit type thing.
That's cool.
But some cool stuff happening. I'm gonna have all the colors at PuffCon. You're gonna have some new colorways as far as like variants go. Gonna have the XLs. Gonna be there with some freezers, serve them up frozen, keep your terps cold. It's gonna be hot. So you're gonna want a Terp Koozie for sure.
Make sure you guys tap in, and if you guys, like I said, you're gonna see it here. I'm gonna release the episode shortly, soon too, just so everybody can see it before PuffCon. And if you saw it on Around the Loop, you know the scoop already. And I want to ask too, is there a message that you would like to share with the world? A thing like a motivation or words of encouragement, or something that, you know, if you were to see yourself, a younger version of yourself, what would you tell yourself?
I think that touching on what we spoke about, integrity, for me, I maybe because it's something so intimate and personal to me, it's been a guiding light, and it's something, like I said, being absolute, whether you're in a relationship and you have
Mhm.
integrity towards your partner, or you're at your, you know, you're working a job, you have integrity towards your job, or shit, you're at home and you have integrity towards your fam or your animals, whatever. You know, there's honesty kind of in being dishonest with yourself. And I feel like integrity embodies the honesty part that we are to ourselves. And so
Sure.
that's really like, you know, if we all just kind of cut the bullshit out, trim the fat, so to say,
Mhm.
and more embrace each other instead
Yes.
of kind of create this polarization maybe that we're seeing here in the world, and see in cannabis too. We see it everywhere. It's
Mhm.
not just to one community. You know, I think bigger things can be accomplished with more synergy and, you know, helping each other out. So that's really, you know, and I feel like that's my role here in the cannabis scene, is to help play a role in you know, preserving your guys' hard-earned money and preserving the hard work that was put in to the hash that you're preserving in it, and, you know, to make sure that you guys are getting the most out of your flavor and shit. So yeah.
I appreciate that so much. And oh man, this has definitely been an amazing episode. I really truly appreciate your time. And like I said, for folks that you haven't heard now, you heard it here on Around the Loop podcast. Terp Koozie is really gonna go and revolutionize the game for everybody. So you saw it here. You're gonna see it in many more. He's gonna be in many more podcasts. So this is just the first, this stepping stone
First
to
of many.
bigger and better things. So I'm proud of you, and I'm it's an honor. Like I said, it's an honor to be in your presence here, just to see all this and to learn, and to be able to educate the world too, to be able to educate the folks on Around the Loop and around the world too. Yeah, it's and I would love to do a part 2 down the road, even catch up with you to see where life has brought you to, because I know this
Absolutely.
is, see, you guys see it here. I'm telling you, it's going to be everywhere. It's going to be everywhere, from all the way from LA to California, and it's going to spread from the west to the east coast. You're going to see it everywhere, maybe even nationwide.
Yeah.
Who knows?
We already are. So we've
Okay.
sold. So in the last 5 months,
Uh-huh.
3 months since March, April, May, June, July, or like 6 months, we've sold 600 units. And it's been word of mouth because of you guys. But I'm able to see where I ship, right? And it's literally every state has a Terp Koozie. Even the ones that aren't rec, which is amazing.
There
even
you
the ones
go.
that
There
don't
you
have,
go. That's a round of
like
applause
legal
right there.
cannabis have Terp Koozies. UK, Canada.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm trying to ship more internationally. It's a little more complicated, but trying to get them everywhere. That's if it's not with terpenes, which I also have plans to use this kind of product for other industries, cosmetics, medication.
That's cool.
You know, right now the low-hanging fruit again is the cannabis scene, but we'll work our way up to that.
No, we're gonna get there. We're definitely gonna get there, and I'm excited to see that. And maybe one day I would love to do a special collaboration for the folks out there. You might even see an Around the Loop podcast and a Terp Koozie collaboration. That'd be an honor and privilege. And so I wanted to ask people, just so they're curious and so they can tap in, where can they find you?
Sure. So we have an Instagram page, which is Terp Koozie. It's at TERPKOOZIE. And then we have a webpage which you can order from. It's a straightforward webpage. Then the title is very straightforward. Also, it's www.terpkoozie.com. Terp Koozies start at $35. The limited edition crushed to opal version is $45. They're only going to be available probably for another month or so, and then I'm going to come out with another limited edition.
Y'all got to get them now, I'm telling you.
Yeah, get them while they last. Actually, we've sold more limited edition crushed opal Terp Koozies than any color. Oh, wow. Which has been pretty cool. We sold those for the least amount of time, too. So
that's amazing. Yeah. And shout out to, I want to say shout out to Live Life Roll Dice for sponsoring this podcast, too, as well, for sponsoring the shirt, and for actually hooking up Greg, too, with the shirt. Yeah. And shout out to Sessions by the Bay, where I'm so excited to bring the Terp Koozie down to you guys so you guys can check this out. Super excited about that. And shout out to Well Green, shout out to Cake House, even Off the Charts Vista too. All the folks that have been supporting Around the Loop podcast. You know, I'm very, very thankful to you guys, and thank you for, you know, believing in me and seeing the growth. I'm surprised to see where I've gone in life, and all the new faces, all the new people I got to meet. It's because of you guys. So thank you for supporting the show, and make sure you guys go and support Terp Koozie. I'm telling you guys, I've been saying it a lot in the episode, and you heard it here. You're gonna want one. I promise you that. So either tap in with Greg too, tap in with Terp Koozie, or even ask me too, and I'll send you the link. I'll even have the link on my link tree, so it's impossible not to be able to find it. So I'll make sure I put it on there too as well. And yeah, looking forward to it. And thank you so much for being on this episode. Thank you so much. It was an honor and privilege.
Thank you guys.